in the original incarnation of this show, Trent Takes On, I did a Sunday recap every week. Well, I didn't do it every week. I started it a little late, and then I did it for a few months, and then I stopped. But every Sunday I would take 5. It was the week in 5 plus was what I called it, and the idea was I was going to do 5 minutes to talk about what happened in the news that week. It seemed like a good idea at the time. I mean, who knew that it would grow into this? But that's really where 2.0 came from. That 1.0 Sunday 5 minute plus. And I got to thinking, maybe it'd be a little bit fun to not necessarily replicate it, but to, toy with the idea of doing a weekly headline show or something like that. So, here I am on a Friday in the morning. Just going to talk about a couple headlines from the week and see what happens. Let's do it. This is Trent Takes On 2.0. I'm the Trent from the title of the show, and this is the week that was August, 14th through 21st. No, wait, that would be Friday to Friday. So yeah, let's do that. 15th through the 21st. Just in a nutshell. I'm not going to do the biggest story of the week until the end, because reason. Let's see. Just this week, the United States Navy is considering not naming a new aircraft carrier that's due to be finished very soon. The USS Doris Miller, which would be named after a black enlisted sailor in World War II, who during the attack on Pearl Harbor, he was a mess hall worker in the Navy. He manned an anti-aircraft gun. Is credited with shooting down a Japanese Zero, and he also saved several sailors' lives by dragging them to safety. Doris Miller was an American hero, and it would be the first aircraft carrier named in honor of a black soldier, black enlisted personnel, or simply first aircraft carrier ever named for a black American. So that would be pretty cool. But the Navy is considering just naming it Trump instead because he wants to have his name on everything. Let's see. That one was a good one. You can hear my dog. The oil prices have risen to a 3-week high, and gas could set an August record high price. So good luck returning from your summer vacation, right? That doesn't sound good. That sounds bad. How about this headline? U.S. workers are paying more for health care, and next year will be worse. We actually knew this because this is one of those things in the big, beautiful bill, big piece of shit bill, big pile of crap. This is such a stupid name because there was nothing beautiful about it. It was a giant omnibus asshole bill. Is probably closer to the truth. Remember when they took away all the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act people? Well, when they did that, they removed a bunch of healthy people from paying insurance. So everybody's insurance went up because that's how insurance works. Did you guys know that healthcare insurance in the United States was required to be nonprofit until 1973 when some president named Richard Nixon and the corporatists in charge at the time changed that. I think I've mentioned that on this show before. Also this week, the housing market is on pace for its worst year since 2011. That's exciting stuff. That's in the aftermath of the great the housing bubble, when a bunch of subprime loans were given out and then sold as bundles, and then worst year since that. Ha ha! Good times. How about this for an indicator of how things are going? Walmart posted its lowest growth in 6 years. So what was going on 6 years ago? Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Let's see. Also this week, I got these little notes everywhere. It's pretty exciting. I'm not listing this as the biggest story of the week, but it probably should be. The national debt has hit $40 trillion, and it hit it much faster than the experts were predicting. For reference, 15 years ago, 2011, it was $14 trillion. Under Donald Trump, in less than 6 years in office, he has grown the national debt by $11.6 trillion. For reference, under Biden, it grew $8.4 trillion. But remember, Biden didn't get to pass a tax cut because it was already in place from Donald Trump's first term. And most of that spending was on COVID relief. And then, and there was a bloated budget already. It was already there. And then they tried to spend $1 trillion on infrastructure, the largest infrastructure investment ever. But Donald Trump has canceled a lot of that. So, yeah. I remember in 2016 when Donald Trump ran for president the first time, him saying that he was going to clear the national debt. And it wouldn't be hard, and he'd have it done in his first term. So, yeah, fail. Hey, that's my dog. You can hear her barking. So she's going to hang out with us for a minute there. Hi, puppy dog. She's probably going to bark at me because she doesn't know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to this microphone. And, this is a fun fact. I was just looking at some of my statistics. I have listeners on all continents except Antarctica. I don't have anybody listening from Antarctica. So I don't know. I don't know if they have the internet in Antarctica. I honestly don't have any idea. I'm guessing that there aren't many people there. And there aren't. So let's see. Also this week we had horrible flooding in Indiana, at least 8 dead. I haven't seen the updated number since yesterday. Also, we're in 2 weeks into an extended drought, or 2 weeks into water rationing due to a drought in Puerto Rico, which is just hard to fathom, but unbelievable that we can't take care of Puerto Rico. Those are American citizens too, by the way, even though they don't have representation in Congress. Puerto Rico is a U.S. territory, and anyone who lives there was born there as an American citizen. Anyway, Indiana too, flooding. Fun fact: Trump and his FEMA organization have not released any federal funding to assist with disasters in blue states because they didn't vote for him. So good times. So the big story of the week, though, is something that Atlanta, like the whole state is just one city. Georgia Senator Jon Ossoff, who is running for re-election, was at one of his rallies, and he gave a little snippet of a speech that got clipped and shared, and here we go. He said in this moment, I'm going to paraphrase. I'm not going to quote it exactly, and I'm not going to clip it for you because I don't have that kind of time. Jon Ossoff said that Donald Trump isn't interested in doing the work of the presidency. He is interested in trading stocks, remodeling the White House, and traveling with Natalie, which of course is a reference to Natalie Harp, who is the aide who they call the human printer. She just prints out good news about Trump or good opinions about Trump and hands them to him. So he basically is fed a constant diet of sycophancy, people just sucking up to him, people praising him and his leadership. And he never hears bad news. He only hears about how great he is. and Natalie Harp is the one responsible for that. So what John Ossoff said, I'm going to repeat it, was he likes to trade stocks, remodel the White House, and travel with Natalie. That's what he said. Travel with Natalie. The entire MAGA right infrastructure, everybody has been in full fucking meltdown all week over this story. Screaming about how John Ossoff said one of the most horrible fucking things ever. Said one of the most horrible things ever. Scott Jennings, who's a CNN bag of assholes, he's a conservative commentator. He used to work for Mitch McConnell and was a never Trumper, and now is a full-blown sycophant ass. He had he went on his weekly podcast or whatever it is and just had a fucking meltdown about how Ossoff was such a horrible human for saying such a disgusting thing, and how all Democrats just see women as sex objects, and travel with Natalie was all he said. The implication wasn't that they were having an affair. It was that he likes to travel with his aide. I think of it as a doting daughter who's always telling her dad how great he is. I didn't immediately jump to, oh, well, they're having an affair, because to me, Donald Trump is an 80-year-old old man who can barely walk. Like, this guy is not the stallion that he pretended to be in the 70s and 80s. Come on, man. Seriously. But travel with Natalie. Ossoff says, travel with Natalie, and they have melted down. And it really, it brings up my Shakespeare. I absolutely studied Shakespeare in high school and into college, and I wanted to be a Shakespearean actor when I grew up. I came to California. I don't know. It just all sounded like a good idea. Then I go, well, I changed my mind. I knew people in California, so I thought I can get out here. Maybe I can get a gig on some show or something. Beverly Hills 90210. I wasn't that good looking, but it reminded me of my Shakespeare. The lady doth protest too much, and it's those moments that you realize not only was that shit written like 600 years ago, it was amazing, 500 years ago, long ass time ago, but it was always on. Shakespeare was always on to the human condition. And when you get caught doing something wrong, or when somebody you care about gets caught doing something wrong, you have a tendency to overcorrect and over defend. And I feel like this is what's happening here. I didn't leap to affair, but it is an unhealthy relationship, because they've released some letters that she's written to him that she leaves in his personal space, and the Secret Service, who's responsible for protecting the president, have expressed concerns over her closeness to the president. So we'll leave it at that. But it really says something that they just have gone so crazy about the travel with Natalie part. I mean, he's traded more stocks this year than computers. And I don't mean more than he's traded computers. I mean, than computers make trades. 3,700 trades in the first few months of the year. He was, that's a crazy number. He was averaging something like 100 plus a day for a while. And first of all, that's way too much trading. Secondly, he's very obviously been manipulating the market the entire time. I mean, this is just gross insider trading. And he's done that a lot. and it did not get enough coverage. It does not get enough coverage. Every abuse, every scandal, every corrupt bullshit story that you hear, they don't get enough attention, and we don't get to dive deep enough into them anymore because there's another one right behind it. The White House. Ossoff mentioned the White House, that all he likes to do is talk about his remodel of the White House, focus on his remodel of the White House. That's what he did this week. He took a bunch of reporters on a tour of the White House renovations, including the new helipad that he's putting in that has the presidential seal on it, and that he just got all new grass for the lawn. And he mentioned that it came from Scott's, the company Scott's Turf Builder or whatever it is. Scott Turf Builder is one of their products, but Scott's Lawns, that they donated it for free. And he said it like 6-7 times. Just started talking about how great Scott's is. That's just such a blatant plug. He got gifted something, and then he repays them. He pays for it by doing a fucking spot for him right there on the White House lawn that was donated by Scott's. Fucking crazy. He took everybody around. This is how they squash he cares about the plight of the American working family. Is he takes them around and he shows them this and he shows them that, and they're fighting to get the ballroom finished because it's a national security issue now, because underneath the ballroom is the giant safe house where the president's supposed to stay when things are going badly out there, I guess. And it's going to have a military installation, and they're going to have missiles and what the fuck? Also, all of this was supposed to be paid for by donations and his own money. Meanwhile, the tally on how much it's costing taxpayers continues to go up every fucking day. Now, there was a temporary restraining order put on this thing because the president does not have the legal authority to unilaterally make massive changes to the White House. You have to go through Senate approval or congressional approval, not just Senate approval, congressional approval, and get the funds allocated for it. Donald Trump didn't bother with that. He just started work. He just started doing it. Now, I don't know how anybody expects to get paid out of this. But he just basically offered a bunch of no-bid contracts to a bunch of companies, and they're over there just working. There's been an injunction saying stop that work, but they're still doing it. Donald Trump and his regime continue to ignore court orders because they're in the way. The courts are in the way. Congress is in the way. The American people are in the way. I can tell you this. I'm going to leave you with this moment, with this thought. If I were planning a hostile takeover of the United States government after the people of this country have rebuffed you, have said, nope, we want you gone. We want a check put on you. If I were planning a hostile takeover of the United States of America from the White House, I would probably want to build myself an underground bunker that was protected, that I could flee to if the need arose. Just saying. That's probably what I would do. In the meantime, travel with Natalie, right? Travel with Natalie. That's the big story of the week. This country's really a fucking joke right now, isn't it? A bad joke. Thank you for listening, and I hope that you share this with a friend because this is fun. This is just fun. It ended up being close to 20 minutes, so sorry about that. I will be back in your feeds next week with more Trent Takes On opinions and sort of newsy stuff, and someday I'm going to get back to talking about the joy of pot stickers and breakfast burritos. But that day is not soon. Until next time, please be good humans. It's the least we can do. Remember, we're all in this together. It's the tiny kindnesses that set us apart and make us good people. Love you. All 6 continents worth. Where you at, Antarctica?